designing Ghost Recon 2 from the ground up as a console game. Everything is being designed to be optimal for the Xbox. The graphics engine, the animations, the textures, the color scheme, you know, is different for a TV as it would be a computer monitor. The interface, the multiplayer, everything is being designed around the console experience so that we can ensure that when you pick up that Xbox title and take it home, it is the best possible experience we can give you. With Ghost Recon 2, we're putting the camera right there behind the character so you can see these fantastic looking characters they have. And since you're able to see your character, you're more in the world. You feel things going on around you. You have this peripheral sense that you really didn't have in just a traditional first-person camera.
It gives you that much more of a perspective of being on the field. It gives you much more of a frame of reference to the field. And it also gives us a lot of things we can do with the weapons. For example, when you're firing your own personal weapon, we can make that a stereo sound. We can give it a bigger field. So you get a much fuller, much more interesting perspective on sound with that view.
Another important thing, which this map doesn't show, is we bought the Havoc 2 license. So these maps will be littered with small Havoc objects that when you throw a grenade over there, they'll go flying all over the place.
We'll start with a death animation, and then it'll convert over somewhere during the animation to the ragdoll and allow us to get that dead body positioning on different landscapes. Or if he falls over a rail, he'll fall for a distance and that kind of stuff. Right.
These are all things that are to help the player feel like he's in the environment that he's playing the game in.
Well, we've come up with a really good, I think, dynamic command system. There's different levels of orders that you can give. It's as simple, if you want your squad to lay suppression fire, like your gunner with his light machine gun, you flip over to where you want to do it, you press 2 buttons and bang, they're laying suppression fire in that order. If you see a vehicle that you want to take out, bang, you press 1 button, your team's whipping out their anti-armor weapons and putting fire on target. Our system is expandable to basically the more amount of tactics that you want to put into it, the more you can. But if you just want to tell your team, take out that target, you can do it with 1 simple button press.
The Xbox has far and away the best sound hardware that you can't ask for anything better. As for an example, instead of just playing the sound of a bullet whizzing by your head, you're actually going to hear these things track from speaker to speaker in 5.1. It's not just something that plays off, you're going to hear it move. Explosions is another area, obviously, that we're working on. You're going to actually be able to hear the explosion itself. There'll be stereo. You're going to be able to hear that thing expand and move across a 5.1 field. And particularly if you're close to it, you'll move up and it'll envelop you as you go. So those are the types of things we're trying to do.
A lot of improvements since Ghost Recon 1. We have higher polygon count characters. Their vertices have pretty much doubled the amount we've had in Ghost Recon, and we'll be able to get a lot more detail and make the characters look more realistic than they were in the past.
We're doing a lot with, in general, with hardware accelerated shaders that are designed specifically for the Xbox to run well, to give us features like robust multi-texturing, normal mapping for diffuse and specular lighting. Everything in the game is going to look more detailed. All the surfaces are going to look much more richly textured and lit. There's not a single aspect of the game, not a single asset going into the game that isn't going to look much more detailed, much more realistic, much more polished than we saw in the predecessor game in GR1.
We definitely do real-world research. We've taken several field trips to military bases and whatnot to make sure that every detail we include is as realistic as possible. For instance, on our mocap shoot, we actually had Special Forces guys from Fort Bragg come up, and we did all of the enemy and team motion capture with these guys.
We've actually talked to the Special Forces soldiers in the field to determine where they wear stuff, how they have their packs sorted on their web gear, and we basically got it pretty much down to the single button on a shirt. We've made them pretty much anatomically correct as well. This is a thing that people will notice. We already have fans out there that if we have a scope backwards, they send us emails and post stuff in the forums that, you know, your scope's backwards, you know, this isn't right. So we have people calculating, you know, down the trajectory of the bullets. Is this accurate? Is this accurate?
Yeah, we do hear about it if we get it wrong, and we also hear positive things when people appreciate it, you know.
I'm a former Marine. I served 4 years active duty in the U.S. Marine Corps. I was a military policeman. I've also had experience in the U.S. Army, in the National Guard, again as a military policeman, and in the U.S. Air Force, in the security forces. When you're explaining to an artist how a M250 cal shoots, it helps that you've actually shot an M250 cal. When you're talking about the explosion radius of a Mark 19 40mm grenade launcher, it helps that you've actually put rounds down range out of the back of a Humvee turret. So all that kind of comes together into a realistic package with our great artists, our great engineers, and with the experience that we have in the building to just really bring home a cool product.
Quite simply, we're the company that started this genre of games. You know, before Rainbow Six, there were no squad-based tactical shooters, right? Now with Ghost Recon, we've expanded it to the Army, and with Ghost Recon 2, we're just making it better.
You have tanks coming at you, helicopters are laying fire down on you. You're in these big spaces where there's buildings being destroyed all over. Enemy soldiers are coming at you. You have backup units that get attached to you. It's all about full-scale war and what your team can go in and do to help win the battle.
When people look at our game, I want all the other games to think, we want to be like Ghost Recon 2.
We definitely are planning to be the killer app when Ghost Recon 2 comes out.